Welcome, everyone. We're going to begin with a prayer. Let's just take a moment to center ourselves. I recognize and celebrate the one divine presence that lives and moves through all creation. Like the sun that shines without condition, divine love radiates through every heart, every life, every being. I honor the fathers, caregivers, teachers, and guides who have reflected this light, remembering that they are not source, but beautiful expressions of source. Today, I open my awareness beyond separation, beyond limitation, beyond the idea of the distant God. I know that divine is within me, as well as all of us. May this light awaken in our hearts a deeper experience of shared oneness, where we recognize ourselves not as separate rays, but as living expressions of love. And so it is.
Wow, thank you, Kayla. Preview of things to come from her talk today. Welcome, everybody, to Unity of Kona. So glad to see you here today. If you would please stand, and we will go ahead and read our affirmation, vision, and mission statements together. So if you would say together with me, hold on, let me grab my, I'm a millennial, can't be separated from my devices. So if you will please say with me our affirmation for today. I live, move, and have my being in the divine. And our vision statement together, please. A world family of oneness, peace, and love. And here at Unity, we have a mission to inspire spiritual growth and service through the active practice of love, prayer, faith, joy, and honoring everyone as a child of God. If you please stay standing, if we can get some singers on board up here, we're going to do our opening song for this month, which is Ubuntu. While they're getting ready, I'm going to get ready. All right. All right. Here we go. Ha, 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 ha. Ubuntu, ha, 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 ha. There is a feeling deep in our hearts. We know that it's time for a new start. People around the world have come away, seeing the problems, all that's at stake. Ha, 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 ha. Ubuntu, ha, 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 ha. Forgiving the past and starting anew. What's good for all and not just a few. There is an answer, there is a way. A message given to us from the old days. Ha, 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 ha. Ubuntu, ha, 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 ha. Loving our neighbors and lending a hand. Giving and caring, the true nature of man. We are one, we stand tall, working together for the good of all. Ha, 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 ha. Ubuntu, ha, 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 ha. Ubuntu, ha, 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 ha. Forgiving the past and starting anew. What's good for all and not just a few. There is an answer, there is a way. A message
together for the good of all. We are one, we stand tall, working together for the good of all. Ha, 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 ha. Ubuntu, 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 ha.
All right, thank you very much, everybody. Now, as I try to get here before it repeats the song, as you can see, I'm a one-man show today, so please bear with me as I migrate around the stage. Oh, now's the time we welcome our guests and visitors. If there's anybody who's new here, hasn't been here in a while, we would love to welcome you properly. If you wouldn't mind just standing up and saying your name and where you're from, we'd love to welcome you. Anybody? Anybody today? Okay, nobody today. So, with no further ado, why don't you guys welcome your neighbors with a handshake or a hug? We'll be back in a minute or two. It's always a wonderful opportunity to come together and see people we haven't seen for a week, say hello to our friends that maybe we were out last night with, but it's good to see them again. We can just come back together. There'll be plenty of time for more fellowship after service. Thank you guys so much. And we would like to welcome everyone, both online and in the sanctuary, by saying together, aloha and God bless you. There will be refreshments and other goodies upstairs after service. Please join us for that. I'm going to get started with just a couple of announcements. And first and foremost is that Unity of Kona is a prayer ministry. We all know that prayer works in our lives. There are prayer request forms on the table at the back of the sanctuary. You can fill those out, and then those are prayed over weekly here in the sanctuary, and they're sent off to Silent Unity in Lee Summit, Missouri, where they're prayed over for 30 consecutive days. So it's a really powerful resource we have available to us. I encourage you to take advantage of it. In addition to the Be Unity app, which is a app version of the prayer request form. So you can send those directly to Silent Unity. There's also affirmations, prayers, all sorts of stuff in there. So go ahead and download that if you'd like to. For our other announcements, I've asked me to read them. We want to thank Team Member of the Month, Tom Halley. Thank you so much, Tom, for your loving service to our spiritual center. Let's give him a round of applause. We're blessed to have Tom at Unity of Kona. We very much appreciate his can-do attitude for whatever is needed to get done. Tom serves on the Unity of Kona music team, brings food for fellowship, sings in the choir, helps with other Unity of Kona activities and events as he is able. Tom, you're a bright and shining light, and we're grateful for your spirit of aloha and loving service. We love you. Mahalo. Joshua Hoagland is our board member of the week. feel free to discuss any questions you may have with him. He will be here in a little while. The monthly board meeting today is at 11:45 following after fellowship. Everyone is welcome to come and observe. Circulation Day, no, it's not even up, we don't have a slide for it, but Circulation Day is next Saturday, June 27th. It's a free community rummage sale. So if you have some gently used items that you would like to donate for the rummage sale, you can donate them either after service today or on Friday from about 5:30 until around 8. And then Saturday until around 8 in the morning is when we can accept donations. But we're also doing a bake sale. So if you want to help with that, there's a sign-up sheet on the back, on the table in the back. So, and Elaine is running that. Thank you so much, Elaine. And Kayla would like to make a further announcement about Circulation Day. Here you go.
It's coming up so quickly, and we haven't talked massively about it, but we are always looking for support for setup and very particularly tear down. So Patrick and I have very small, tiny vehicles, if you've seen. It doesn't pack much in there, and we need multiple people to put the leftovers at 1 o'clock into their vehicle, and if you can come a little early, that'd be great, to put them into their vehicle and circulate them to all the thrift stores so we can help get the resources out of the sanctuary and reset back up for all the things we do here. So I would really love and appreciate anyone who would like to join us in setting up. The fun about that is you get to look through everything and first come, first serve. So if you find something you wanted to manifest, just saying, could be there. So if you come on Friday, we'll be setting up from about 5:30 till 8, 8:30, sometimes 9, depending. You don't have to stay that long. Whatever you can contribute. And if you can come right at 12:45 the next day, I would be eternally grateful. So I'm so excited and can't wait to see you all there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kayla. She does such a great job organizing our circulation days. And regardless, please come. It's 9 to noon on Saturday, and 9 to 1 on Saturday, and you can take whatever you want. Please take it. So, Monday evenings from 6 to 7, Dondi leads the ukulele jam sessions here in the sanctuary. Tuesday evening, Clyde hosts our monthly drumming circle. So that's this upcoming Tuesday. Feel free to bring a shaker or a drum. There are a couple to borrow, but please join us for that. That's 6:30 on Tuesday. Our next choir practice is going to be Monday, June 29th at 7:30 p.m., directly following ukulele. And then for our regular weekly and monthly announcements, there is a flyer at the table at the back of the sanctuary. Feel free to pick one up. And as you know, considering I'm doing a lot today, it takes a village to run this spiritual center, and we depend on everybody. Please consider volunteering just 1 to 4 hours of a month of your time in any way you feel called to serve. Sign-up sheets are, as I've noted, in the back of the sanctuary. Your support is essential, and we thank you from the bottom of your hearts. And that is all for our announcements. I've asked Clyde to come up and do our daily word. Let's welcome Clyde.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It's Father's Day, in case you didn't know. Consequently, I want to bless my own children now. Maya, Teruko, Yoji, I miss them, Ken, and Nami. It's all Japanese. Mother of Buddha, Amaterasu no Mikami, son of the sun, the provider, and Nami as in tsunami. Bless you all. Blessing for fathers. Today I bless my father and give thanks for the part he played in my life. I also bless those who showed me fatherly love, who taught and guided me, who led by example, by demonstrating the divine attributes of strength and wisdom. Love and support I received from all the father figures in my life helped me to become the person I am today. I'm grateful for those special ones who saw the potential and encouraged me to reach high and pursue my dreams. I am also thankful to them for the encouragement they provided during times of disappointment and discouragement. I bless the world's fathers and pray they know the support and guidance that they have so lovingly shared with us. The scripture is,
Thank you so much, Clyde. Appreciate that. And now is the moment. I'm aware I'm not going to deal with it at this very moment. Now is the moment in our service where we just take a moment to relax and take a deep breath and visualize our sanctuary as a beautiful. Feel the loving energy of those around you flowing in and through you. See that loving energy going out to every person, every being in this world. If there are events or circumstances in your life or anyone you know in need of prayer, see them in the center of this most beautiful, loving heart. As we know, our thoughts are prayers. So I invite you to join me in saying our prayer for protection. For the light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God holds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. And the presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. So it is. And now I'm going to invite Lauren to come up. He's going to play us a little bit of music before we get into our meditation and message. Let's give him a welcome. Thank you, Lauren.
Happy Father's Day. In choosing the songs today, I kind of wanted to honor Father's Day, but we just had Juneteenth as well, so I kind of wanted to combine all that together. And I want to take you down a little rabbit hole that, don't worry, you clock watchers, I shortened my songs, so hopefully that will be okay for y'all. I would say, like, when I was in 1968, I was 7 years old. Had one of the best dads in the world. He did Easter egg hunts every year. He just amazing man. You know, he'd be in a room, all the kids would be on his lap, like within 5 minutes or something. So, really amazing. And in the as synchronous things happen so often, as I was diving deep into AI. I'm going to do the song "God Bless the Child." It says that her opening lines, which are, "Them that's got shall have, them that's not shall lose." So the Bible said, and it still is news. That, as you might recognize from Reverend Sophia's sermon, is the parable of the talents, where the servants got many and they invested well and they did well. So this is kind of a flip side of that same excerpt. In fact, a sociologist in 1968, also when I was 7, coined the term the Matthew effect, which is basically, you know, that the rich get richer and the poor are kept down, is that philosophy. So I think it's kind of interesting that there can be many interpretations to biblical messages. And I think that's all I will babble on about.
Thank you very much, Lauren. That was beautiful. Much appreciated. And now is the time when we do our meditation and message. And I would like to welcome our regular guest speaker up here. Kayla is a licensed therapist and then former board president here at Unity of Kona. And she has a talk today on a title that I don't have my sheet for anymore. So it's going to be a surprise. Let's give her a round of applause, please.
All right. Let's get started by just allowing ourselves to relax and rest in our seat. I invite you to close your eyes if that feels good. Take a slow, easy breath. And another. And just allow your body to settle, your shoulders to soften, to become fully present. Take a moment today to honor the light beyond us, the light within us, and the light all around us. Aligning with this light, we simply imagine it as a warm, steady stream pouring down our head and body. It may begin as if it feels like sun beaming on your crown and face. Feel this presence, the steady radiance and generosity of this light. The encompassing light is the light and the love of divine essence, flowing in and through each of us, always available, always shining. Bring to mind now someone who has guided you. It may be your father, a grandfather, teacher, mentor, or anyone who reflected that wisdom and love. See this same light shining through and pouring from them. Offer your gratitude as you observe their unique expression of light. Looking back upon ourselves, we notice that same light glowing brighter now. Not merely through you, but moving, breathing, and living as you. As we allow our awareness to expand, we might notice and feel this light emanating from all those gathered here. Zooming out now, thinking of our family and community, we can see and know their light. That awareness that the light is shared. The light is bright in each one. Different colors, different experiences, different expressions. One light. Rest for a moment in that sacred oneness. We carry this expanded vision of divine light within each of us as we return to this now moment. Gently return your awareness to your body and this room as we wiggle our fingers and toes and begin to stretch what needs stretching, and open your eyes when you're ready, returning back this expanded connection. Thank you, Lauren. All right, we're returning back into this room as we return to a happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day, everyone. And happy solstice. I think it's beautiful that they land together, and we're going to be weaving in all of that today. First, I do want to touch on the spiritual and metaphysical meanings and beauty of the summer solstice. It's often viewed as a symbolic turning point. The solstice, the summer solstice, is associated as the time of the greatest daylight, the moment that the life force energy is at its fullest expression. In this time, we honor what gives us life, the creative force, and seeing forth visions of our dreams we'd like to bring forward as us, as divine energy and light. It represents increased clarity and insight and greater awareness on every level. We've been talking about unity principles and philosophies and helping us define ourselves better. And I think what a better, more perfect time to talk about our expanded awareness of God. I don't know about you, but I really like terms and learning new words, especially if they help me describe myself. So I thought it might be good getting back into what do we really believe? That we take a look at a few terms that might help us explain ourselves. And you might grab one that says, ooh, that's a central tenet of why I like to be here. So there are so many words to describe religious philosophy, but I'm going to describe just a few that help us understand what unity believes, what this philosophy supports in various terms you might want to grab. So first is the concept of monism. And if you haven't heard of monism, it's that idea that reality can be defined as a unified whole, that there is but one basic substance, one essence in life. And we can see this reflected in the unity principle, of course. There is one power, one presence, alive in the universe, God the good. We also ascribe to idealism. And while that has many definitions, in religious philosophy, that means the view of consciousness, the mind and spirit being the primary reality, not this physical, tangible reality, but that ineffable mind reality is actually primary. We also are actually quite mystical. We are part of mysticism. And mysticism can be defined as emphasizing the direct experience and connection with the divine presence. Now, although in this talk we are going to talk about how God is not a person per se, we absolutely believe in the felt experience of God. We also are believers in universalism. And universalism says that there is a spiritual truth that is universal and is not confined to one religion, but present in amongst all religions. And my favorite, and I think I've said it before, but when I describe what I believe, what is unity, I'm going to use this one, and it's going to be fun to describe it. Panentheism. I am a very well-described panentheismist. It comes from the word pantheism, and pantheism is the idea that God is in everything. Everything. This, me, this, that bird, everything. But panentheism expands it even greater. It says not only is God in everything, God transcends everything. that God transcends the universe, space, and time, that the entire cosmos is formed by this interconnected whole, but yet God is not exhausted by this whole. The concept of Gestalt theory is present here, the idea that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. A common metaphor we can use to just understand this concept of how large and expansive God is that the universe is to God as thought is to the mind. We see God as both immanent and transparent. And now I'm getting nervous because I'm not sure what my next slide is. Okay, here we go. Perfect timing. God is both immanent and transparent. We talked a lot about how God is not distant. God is within and ever present. Now, in that definition, we can already hear God is not a person per se, right? You can hear that. However, generations have imagined God in this form. And I understand it helps make the mystery of life more understandable, more relatable maybe. And the sacred has often been portrayed in the masculine. Now, this also has a lot to do with both societal and cultural, historical references, but also grammar. It wasn't intended per se to be that way, but it's grammatically formed that way. And it's described through language like king, but even more prominently, father. Father as protector and guide. Now, I think this is to emphasize the connection, the care, the belonging that we have to spirit. And it once helped humans form a very personal relationship to the sacred, and I think it still does for many. And don't get me wrong, God is very personal in experience. As many of us have noted, those who have had peak experiences in your life and moments where you felt God in such a personal way, that is very real to us. And God is also impersonal in essence and in everything. So relating to God as a person is one doorway to relate to the divine. However, personhood implies limitations, doesn't it? A person has a very defined perspective and form. When we imagine God as a giant person, we inevitably give him human traits. You can already hear it, such as opinions and preferences. And we make God some kind of cosmic father. That brings in a lot. Ideas of judgment, protection, interventions, disappointments, rewards, and maybe punishments. In other words, we sort of shrink this infinite to this supersized version of ourselves. And the Father God model is kind of accidentally the container for some unresolved human dynamics. It becomes the container for authority issues and where we might try to find our attachment needs, understandably, fear of punishment, judgment in our world that we might be doing something wrong. And we might even look to it for desires for approval and acceptance. However, all of that constricts our connection to this divine, ineffable essence, always present. Now, interestingly, I'd like to argue that we make the opposite mistake with fathers. But this is an interesting thought here, and this is just what came to me for today, that with God, we take the infinite and make it human, which comes with its own challenges. But we might actually, on accident, be taking fathers and trying to ask them to be infinite. Partly due to hundreds of years of patriarchal society structure, right, where we did have the masculine in the family, the only one who owned land, the only one who was allowed to speak to God and who spoke for everyone. That's a complicated dynamic. But also, think about it this way. If God is imagined as the perfect father, then that will shape people's own expectations of how they see God, first of all. So that projection goes that direction. But also the reverse is true, that the way we imagine God is shaped how we see our fathers, how perfect or inadequate they might be. So the more perfect and transcendent the Heavenly Father is for us, the more inadequate our own fathers may appear, that our own masculine may seem or feel, or the expectations we have. So whatever your own father, whether he was present, whether he was a great example of the divine, mediocre or poor, when we come in as very vulnerable, small human beings and our newly separated self, we are, of course, looking for examples of divine connection in our greatest caretakers, our mothers, our fathers, our grandparents, whoever is present. And in fathers in particular, I mean, we make our own demands of the mothers, trust you me. But in our fathers, we ask for a protector, a provider, a teacher, an emotional rock, a moral compass, someone to be present, always certain, all-knowing, always strong, never wounded. I think we unconsciously ask fathers to play God. And no human can sustain that projection. Everyone suffers, and then fathers feel inadequate. And sometimes when people don't feel like they can measure up, they self-sabotage. They bomb it, or they bail out. And it's nobody's fault that children see parents as gods. Children see parents as gods because it's their whole world. And it has wild implications. I mean, I'm almost 40, and I think I can still say that I'm a bit of a parent pleaser. I mean, that might just be me because I'm a little bit of a people pleaser in general, but there's something there, and there can be a stark, painful realization at whatever age when we realize that our parents can't hold that. Maybe not even a little bit. Sometimes not even at all. And the relationship there constricts. So neither expectation is really fair. I think it's kind of a setup for both. It happens religiously and in a cultural life. We unconsciously burden fathers with qualities of the divine God, and we weigh down God with qualities of being this human father. Fathers suffer because they can never actually be God. And God suffers because we shrink God, this infinite, to this weird, glorified human personality that we can have little fights with. I don't know if anybody else has ever been mad at God. I think it's more common than we can remember, right? And we imagine. There's no unique human wretchedness. We all feel the same kind of problems. So the opposite, though, however, is not in that idealizing fathers is not devaluing them then. That's not it at all. It's actually in appreciating them more fully and truthfully in what and who they are. And the opposite of anthropomorphizing God, as Sophia talked about, is not in distancing ourselves from God. It's actually encountering the divine more expansively, less judgmentally. There's so much freedom when we're able to expand our perception here for everyone. One of my greatest thoughts recently about expanding perception is about everything that's happening with the World Cup. I am not a sports person by any means. I don't function well in the body. Let's go ahead and say that. I am usually woo up here, so it's hard for me to do coordinated efforts. So sports have never been my thing. But my God, I don't know if you're watching the reels or the little videos that people are putting out, people from other countries visiting our country. For those who don't know, we're hosting the World Cup, and what that means is there's events all over. People from all different countries are getting to experience the Florida beaches, getting to experience Texas barbecue, getting to experience an Iowa cornfield, everything that you could imagine. And they're expanding their notion about what America is, what the United States is. All the different cultural pieces, the different beautiful landscapes, the food, and most importantly, the friendly people. There has been so much rhetoric put out by so many conflicting places in the media People only know what to believe when they hear something expressed to them, but they're experiencing us. And all I'm seeing is how everybody's saying, oh my God, I never knew. I never knew. Wow, you guys are pretty cool and nice. And I get it now. I think it's so beautiful. I don't think we've ever had greater press. I think this is fantastic. So what is happening with the World Cup can happen in so many levels. And I think we should take that and expand it out. So what freedom can be happening when we release the expectations? When we expand our awareness? So what can it be like when we actually release God from being a person and when we release our fathers from having to play God? So I think something beautiful emerges here. We can receive gifts on greater degrees, and we can have gratitude and understanding on a much higher level. When we release God from being personhood, God becomes larger. God can be wonderfully infinite and speak to us in every manner, through every being, through the blade of grass. And we reduce that projection, and God no longer has to be the superhuman parent for us to be worthy of our connection. And when we release fathers from having to play God, they don't have to be this perfection to be worthy of our honor. In that freedom, they can be wonderfully and fully human, capable of uncertainty, learning, mistakes, apology, growth, and vulnerability. I think paradoxically, those are the moments that their children will remember and honor the most. Just as how beautifully Clyde shared our daily word today. That's meaningful. The most powerful moments that I have, that I remember about my own father, is the times in which he cried. I remember when my dad cried at the Mr. Holland's Opus movie that we went to. And I could see his values and the meaning that it had for him. He unapologetically cried deeply in public at that movie. I remember a time he sent me to my room after dinner, and I was upset, and eventually he came when I calmed down, and I cried and cried to him about how hard it is to be the oldest and all the expectations. And then my dad cried, and he said, I know what that's like. I get it. I'm with you. I feel that. I understand you. And it was when he showed me his real human emotions, that depth and that vulnerability that I saw in him, that he became the most accessible, relatable, and real. That's when I could really feel his love. That's when I knew him, saw myself in him, and could really learn from him. And even in my 20s, when I remember asking him for help for a car loan. And we had a house where there was a stairs, and the upstairs bedroom was where my parents were. And I was calling up, like, I need help with this loan. I don't know what to do. And I remember him calling down to me saying, I don't know. I don't know what you're supposed to do, Kayla. I don't know what to tell you. And he's like, just call the bank and answer the questions. You don't know what to do? And I'm pushing back like, what do you mean? I don't know what I'm supposed to do. You're supposed to help me. I don't know what to do. I've never done this before. And he keeps saying, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know any better than you're going to figure out. You just have to figure it out. I don't know the process. You just got to try stuff. And at the time, I was incredibly irritated because this is the same guy who meticulously picked through every one of my essays and knows all the grammatical rules. What do you mean you don't know? Bull crap. So I was really irritated, and I'm sure he was a bit busy, but really, honestly, after a while, it was incredibly freeing. My father didn't know everything. And turns out there's not a right way to do it all. Could have fooled me. He's just making it up. just making it up. And that was a huge turning point for me to realize that my parents were just people making stuff up. And it shifted my opinion. And maybe for many of you this happened much earlier in your life, but it shifted my opinion in a way to take their opinions from being this God-like intensity. And when I did that, I could finally relate to them differently. They're just people, beautiful people, trying their absolute best and showing me love in every way they can know how, amongst all of their own challenges of being human and playing this game of life. So ironically, I think it's not when fathers appear invincible. It's not when they have every answer to every question. It's not those times, but when they're authentic. When they model courage in the face of not knowing, that fathers become the most available, the most expansive role. So the greatest gift I think a father can give is not the illusion of perfection, but it's to demonstrate how to be a divine human with grace. Last week we talked about Jesus and all that Jesus did, not to have Christ as his last name, but that Christedness is something that we can embody, that was an example. So Jesus did not become the way shower because he showed up as this extra God superhero. It's not because he was absolutely perfect, had no emotion, no challenges, no struggles, that he was honored. In fact, it was because he showed up human and showed up what can be done in a human when we become transparent to divine qualities. So perhaps fathers' most divine essence is not when they become larger than life. It's because they become transparent to qualities larger than themselves. We've used before a metaphor of stained glass, and Sophia highlighted this several months ago, but I want to go back to this. That she said that it's not that stained glass in and of itself is beautiful, and not because it pretends to be the sun in any way that it's beautiful. It's because it allows the sunlight to pass through it. It allows itself to reflect this beautiful light. Just like our fathers, when they are at their best, they're reflecting these beautiful, humble, and divine qualities through them, just like each of us, that we become the most luminous. Not when we're trying to be something, but when we are the vessel for that something. Greater yet, the expression of Source made visible. I want to share with you a quote from a comedian, Peter Holmes. And if you doesn't know him, you should look him up. He's very funny, and he likes to make jokes and analogies about God. And I've cleaned it up a little bit, right? And there's more to the joke, so I encourage you to look it up later. But it's very funny. I think comedians can say things in a way that no one else can, right? And he said, his friends will often say to him, "There's no evidence. Come on. There's no evidence for God," says the phenomenon inside the phenomena. You know what I mean? Also, I completely agree, he says. You won't find evidence for God here. What are you, nuts? We're like characters in a book, looking for evidence of the author inside the book. But the author isn't inside the book. Do you understand? Harry Potter can't find J.K. Rowling at Hogwarts. She's not there. So, that might be frustrating for him. And it's probably within his rights to be like, this is really messed up. You know what I mean? But deep down, in his essence, Harry Potter is J.K. Rowling. He borrows his reality from J.K. Rowling. His mind is an apparent limitation of J.K. Rowling's mind. And the greatest evidence of the author isn't in the book. The greatest evidence of the author is the book. So I encourage you to look up more about that. It gets pretty funny. But I think our problem is that we search for God as another character in this universe. And just as Harry Potter can't find J.K. Rowling at Hogwarts because she's not a character, Every page of the story expresses her. So we can use any book as this example, but just like God is not another being in this story, God is life from which the whole story emerges. God is source, presence, love, intelligence, and life itself, expressing through all beings, all matter. So this shifts us really from God as someone to obey to something to embody. That's what we talk about in unity. So we often talk about this conscious evolutionary framework, right? Made possible and accessible by Bernard Beckwith at the Agape International Spiritual Center. We talk about this a lot. So we talk about this starting at to me, victim mentality, this life is just happening to me. Then we work our way to by me. We gain some spiritual autonomy. I help create this world that I'm in. Eventually we get to through me. Wow, there is a greater power, sometimes expressing through me. Amazing. And often what's considered the highest, as me. The divine is expressing as me in this world. Not in an egoic way, but as I am the life, as a unique expression of the one life. Now, what if we expanded that? What if that was even higher? What if we took as me and expanded it to the thought as we? As we. What could we accomplish then? If we were to truly see and know that God is and expressing through each and every one of us right now as God, speaking to each other, creating together. That was about what the retreat was about that Laura and I went on. It was put on by a group entitled Weevolution. That was what it was, the Weevolution. What if we expanded that consciousness instead to all of us expressing? The group that put it on was actually called We Wanting. We Wanting. And I thought, what is that? And they do experiential processes to help us experience the field of oneness as God. What Sophia talked about last time, where she said they had to put their knees together and look into each other's eyes, and it was the most uncomfortable thing she's ever done. We did that over and over and over again with many people, sometimes 20 minutes at a time, really experiencing the field between us. It was incredible, very vulnerable, very interesting. They shared that oneness is like fingers, that we are the fingers on one hand of God. That shared presence then experienced becomes primary. That describing oneness is the actively joining with the divine that we are invited to do. And this retreat had us contemplating what it could be like if this unity movement of recognizing ourselves as divine could be expanded from individual realization to a collective realization. And even as we do this now, what the impact of that, each one of us as a connected whole is doing to expand that, to express our connectedness as the expression of God. So we talk about God as the whole field. You, me, our relationships, our community, and life itself. So I believe that our spiritual consciousness is now calling us to a greater, larger awareness. It's calling us to continue our evolution and expansion towards oneness, beyond separation of selves to the realization of our shared divinity, shared essence, not only with the divine, but with one another. That we are all expressions of the one being, or should I say, beingness. So yes, each person is unique in that expression. The sun and its rays reaches each of us in different places, and it comes through in different ways, yet it's all one common source. So today, as we celebrate the summer solstice, we honor that light that has sustained life. And since the beginning of human awareness, our ancestors have looked up to that sun as a source of our life source. Now today, we see it as a common symbol of that ever-present divine that shines through all of us. Many of us first encounter that through the presence of our mother, our father, our teachers and caretakers. But they were never meant to be God for us. They were meant to be as we are, stained glass, beautiful channels, human channels through which all of our parts shine through as the expression of God incarnate. That light, that spirit, that life force in expression. And that deepest realization is that that divine light shines through every being, every life, every heart. Many rays, one sun. Many lives, one life. One presence expressing as we. And so it is. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kayla. That was wonderful. I'm still missing my order of service. I think you may have snagged it up when you had your sheet of paper, Lauren. Oh yeah, there it is. Whoo, no worries. Thank you so much. I don't do well without my script, guys. So thank you so much, Kayla, for your wonderful message on Father's Day and solstice and being and oneness. It's truly inspirational. And now is a time in our service when we give our tithes and offerings in support of this ministry. So there are many ways in which you can make your donation, for which we're abundantly grateful. Some will appear on the screen. For those attending service, ushers will pass around the tithing bowl, and anyone with spare change, feel free to add it to the building fund in the back of the sanctuary, a little wooden house back there. Help grow our building fund. So if you would please take your gifts into your hands, and then join us now in saying our offering prayer together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am abundantly prosperous in every way. And Lauren's going to play us a little bit more music. Thank you, Lauren.
I may or may not have mentioned that last song was by Billie Holiday, God Bless the Child. And I'm going to take you down that AI rabbit hole for a little longer. My second song, I thought, since it's Father's Day, first I was honoring my dad, who loved the jazz standards, and then I was thinking of honoring my son, who it was a lot of fun helping him learn Linus and Lucy, which is the main song that's from the Peanuts show. And so I thought, well, that doesn't really tie into Juneteenth, but, you know, can't get everything. So I decided to look it up. And so back to the rabbit hole, 1968, I'm 7 years old. Very sadly, Martin Luther King is assassinated. And then as a result, a teacher in Los Angeles wrote to Charles Schultz and said, you should add a black character. And so after doing some research, it turned out that Franklin, who became that black character, was the first cartoon character in print to ever show up in, predominantly white newspapers and white communities. So it actually does relate to Juneteenth as well. So anyway, Linus and Lucy.
Thank you so much, Lauren. Appreciate it. Man, it's so great to have all this lovely talent here at Unity. We have great speakers, we have great musicians, we have great singers. We appreciate everybody who helps out with service every Sunday. You're much appreciated. And so now, let's go ahead and bless our tithes and offerings. I need my clicker. And so if you will please join me in saying, through Spirit, we know that as we give, so shall we receive. We dedicate and consecrate these gifts to do your will and your work in this center, in our lives, and in our community. And so it is. All right. Well, next Sunday, our guest speaker is Sasha Knowles, and her talk is Seeing the Divine Everywhere. What if the divine isn't somewhere far away, but right here in the middle of everyday life? When we begin to shift from seeing separation to seeing sacred connection, the world starts to feel different. We will explore Unity's understanding that God is present in all life and invites us to move through our days with more compassion, wonder, presence, and love. So join us next week for that. And thank you for joining us. Please tell your friends and family about the Facebook event. We're on YouTube and Twitch, as well. The service will remain viewable for a month on Unity's Facebook, but also on our YouTube. So go ahead and check that out. So if you will please stand and form a circle behind the cameras, we'll sing our closing songs, Let There Be Peace on Earth and Aloha Oi. Until we meet again, we'll sing Aloha Oi.
Aloha Oi, Aloha Oi, E ke ona ona no I kalipo, one fond embrace, A'oi A'au, until we meet.
Everybody, refreshments are upstairs. See you next week. Aloha. Board meeting at 11:45.